The Kelly-Hopkinsville UFO encounter is easily one of the most terrifying reports of interactions with extraterrestrial creatures. An entire family claimed to have had their home assaulted by 3 to 4 foot entities that resembled nothing from planet Earth. No photographic evidence was taken of the encounter, and so all that is left is the testimony of those who were involved in the case. While most encounters with UFOs and their supposed pilots are often brief and leave the participants with nothing in the way of definitive physical evidence of their encounter, there is one piece of little-known photographic evidence that has yet to be disproven. On December 1st, 1987, Philip Spencer had the luck to capture, on film, a strange creature he said approached him during his morning walk to another nearby village in Yorkshire, England. The photo would go on to be analyzed and pored over by experts who were unable to definitively state if this was some type of hoax or if it was actual evidence of an extraterrestrial encounter. This case file joined the theorists as they stumble through the fog to find little green men in the Ilkely Moor UFO encounter.
Welcome to Case Alien Theorists Theorizing Case File 246. Ilkely Moor UFO Incident.
Wrong.
It's close enough.
You blew it. The
What was
correct title of the case file is the Ilkely Moor Incident.
That's not even.
The Ilkely
That's
Moor
way.
Icky Moop. Icky Moop.
Incident.
That was worse
Anyways,
than
Moop. The correct answer is Moops.
I'm Braden.
I'm Zell.
I'm Dan.
And I'm Andrew.
To lead off the show here, Dan went on, one of his rants we were talking about.
One of his pre-show rants.
So Dan's going to give a little disclaimer for everyone here before we start. Go ahead, Dan.
I was just saying that if you want me to pronounce the names of your towns in certain regions, spell them correctly. If you want them pronounced that way, you should probably change their spelling.
Well, let's just say Dan's disclosure here was much nicer than it was 5 minutes ago because anyone that doesn't like how I pronounce things today can fuck right off.
Yeah, it was closer to an Alex Jones rant than.
Oh, yeah.
We're trying
Yorkshire, Yorkshire pudding. Who gives a shit?
trying to keep it PG for the kids.
Yeah.
This is a kid-friendly show. Now,
God damn it, Zell.
Kids should not be listening to the show.
Choke me, Zell.
Hey, he's going bankrupt. That dude is, and his parent company is going
How?
Yeah.
How can somebody that hilarious go bankrupt?
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No, he's declaring bankruptcy. His parent company is declaring bankruptcy, and he's choosing to sue his parent company.
It's
Interesting.
You know what? It's fun. It's terrible nowadays that a comedian can't even get by making jokes without getting roasted.
He's a funny
Right?
guy.
Right? He's just trying to. He's just you take Alex Jones for what he is. He's a comedian. That's what he is. And what he does is hilarious.
The only guy with higher blood pressure than Jean-Claude Van Damme. Only guy.
Yeah.
This is true.
So it's testosterone supplements.
Boys, I want to tell you really quick now. You probably noticed my fishing hat. It's a party in the front, party in the back.
Fuck, what, can you find it on the fucking merch store? Like, enough.
No,
Right?
you can't.
Enough.
You can't.
I've heard it enough. Fuck.
I'm somewhat of an angler now. Caught my
great.
biggest fish I've ever caught yesterday. The
We talking about
old,
plenty of fish wins here or what?
No. 21 pounder salmon. No big deal. It's just me in the ocean.
Braden's still
out
out there
there.
searching for the best of both worlds.
Yeah. Well, I found it yesterday.
Easy.
So may have won a fishing derby.
The story took a
I don't
weird
know.
turn.
We'll see.
you may have won a fishing derby, but you have no idea.
Yes. I was first place, but I had to leave before it was over. I just catch fish and bounce. What I do now. I roll in, see if I want to do a derby, catch the winner, peace out.
You're so sure that you win, you just leave.
Yeah.
Chad Angler, man. He just walks in there, catches biggest fish, leaves, doesn't explain.
Angler. No, it's pretty fun. It was good. Nice the West Coast. But I kind of brought that story because I was talking to an older fellow out there who was telling me a UFO encounter he had in Burnaby. And he was talking about how lots of people see lights over the West Coast. So we went out late in the evening, stars were all out, beautiful night. And, we're seeing the typical satellites, right? Everywhere going on. And I see this one, what I thought was a satellite. Someone points out, goes, there's a satellite. And it's going a little bit slower. And then it like U's off. Woo! Just a big U and just fades away. And I was like, well, that was weird. And everyone there was like, we were all like looking at each other. We're like, everyone see that? Like that was weird. Then one other weird thing happened. We're sitting there, we're all looking, same thing, eyes on the skies. And we were out there looking for like an hour, shooting stars. Amazing. If you, it's been a while since you've been out there and just sat on a night, beautiful starry night away from some light pollution, get out and do it. You're missing out. Within an hour, shooting stars or satellites, like all sorts of stuff going on. There was like a bright flash just whoosh, in one spot of the sky that looked like, it looked like someone turned a flashlight on, but from space. It was like, flash and then off, and I was like, "What was that?" Never seen that before. So I don't know. The octopuses overlords are on their way, and they just eradicated another star. So that's all I could figure.
All right,
that makes sense.
Checks out. That's cool though. It's always cool. Like I haven't seen. I've seen the ISS dock with the shuttle, and I thought it was aliens.
Yeah,
turns out it wasn't, but. I got really excited there for a bit.
Still pretty cool.
Yep.
I know.
So yeah, I don't know. Anyone else on the West Coast was looking at stars and saw a satellite pull a U-turn and fade away. Let me know what that was. This case file, we're heading across the pond back to England.
I can't pronounce probably.
I can get that one. Okay. Full disclosure. I've never been on a moor. I've never walked on a moor.
I had to look up what a moor was.
I don't ever really want to go to a moor after this.
Got the moops.
Like,
come on.
I'm like,
moops.
There's a lot of weird shit that happens out on the moors.
Bubble Boy?
You guys are all wrong. You've all been on the moor. It's called the Blood Moor from Diablo 2. You slayed a lot of monsters on it.
That makes me want to go less. There's a bunch of monsters on the fucking moor because that's apparently where they all live is on the moor.
The great thing about this ilk, like I heard it a couple times, and I might fuck it up, but it might still be funny. But it was like they say the Ilkely Moor is terrifying during the day. The stuff of nightmares during the day, and at night. Well,
it's actually quite pleasant.
Let me guess.
It's even worse.
It's great. The temperature's nice. It's just a little better,
It's just they use all these like terrible descriptor words for it during the day, and then they sum it up with "and at night."
You'll never guess. It gets
You'll never
worse.
guess.
It is
when you can't see. Surprise, surprise! It's even worse.
So on the morning of December 1st.
Hold on. So everyone knows what a moor is. It's like uncultivated land. So it's like bushes. It's outdoors. Basically,
it's stuff that stuff that like can't. It's like a land that cannot really be farmed. Like it's just kind of undeveloped. Like
dude,
rocky,
it's literally British Columbia. It's where we live.
What?
We live on a province-wide moor.
Well, wait, it's not quite a forest, but it's not quite like a grassland. It's somewhere
it's the
in
bush.
the middle.
Yeah, it's the bush.
It's the bush. We're going to the fucking bush, boys.
It's like, kind of rolling hills. You got some big bushes, some trees and stuff, but it's not. It's
some
just
rocks?
There's rocks.
Berries? Is there any berries?
Boulderfield?
Might be
creeks.
berries.
So it's to paint you the picture, right? It's just a no man's land, really. Like it's no buildings, no nothing. It's a moor. Now you know.
Yep. So on December 1st, 1987, out on Ilkley Moor, you had retired London policeman Philip Spencer set out for a nice morning walk. Now, Ilkley Moor, if you don't know where it is, it's situated in moorland between... that's the technical term for it. Moorland.
Stupidest name.
Between the towns of Ilkley and Kelly. I don't know if that's wrong. Somebody will fix it. I don't know. Somebody will tell me it's wrong. And West Yorkshire. And somebody asked us if we could do a Yorkshire accent. I cannot.
I wouldn't even know what that is.
I kind of looked it up and I was like, yeah.
Oi. Everybody. Yeah, this is close enough.
I don't think
Yo, wizard, Harry. All right. So Philip Spencer and his family had moved to Yorkshire to be closer to his wife's family after he had retired from being a policeman in the city of London. And Ilkely Moor is already pretty well known in its own right before the events of December 1st, 1987. It's an area that is a place of picturesque vistas and also a number of ancient carved boulders and stone circles and also natural rock formations. Which
it's also home of Dan's favorite rock.
Well, what?
Yeah, the fucking swastika rock, right?
Oh. Okay. All right.
It also lies on it also lies on a ley line.
Yeah.
Oh, does
Yes.
it?
How come? Yeah, you bolded that and underlined it in the notes. So I just thought.
I just think it's funny because they're
highlighted
like
it twice.
Swastika.
It's known for a number of ancient
his favorite rock.
It's known for a number
excited.
of ancient carved boulders, which is like which fucking moor in the UK isn't known for carved boulders? They're everywhere. Like it's like you could trip over one just walking over these. Like they're everywhere. But they do have some of the best known examples from Ilkely Moor are the swastika one known as a swastika stone, and there's also a structure known as it's a round circle of stones known as the 12 Apostles. And so local folklore.
Let's be clear here. That rock was named far before.
Yeah.
Third
sure.
Reich. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It's swastika in the design sense, not like the.
Does that make you like it less now?
But let's be clear, the swastika rock it's not even a swastika.
No,
It's like a weird.
Well, it's a
cross.
Buddhist, right? It's a
good luck one.
Well, it's just a stylized cross, kind of. It's just like a stylized four-pointed object design that's kind of on the that's carved.
It's
into
like
the rock.
4 blobs. It's not like right angle like swastika. No. Blobs.
Yeah. And so local folklore ascribes some of these formations to giants from the ancient past, which I think is most of the stories that you find out about moors and giant rocks being moved to places. It's always giants did it. It always seems to be the common explanation.
This 50-ton rock or this 100-ton rock was moved from 400 miles away well before rollers, pulleys, or leverage, everything. I'm like, giants.
So
we got to get Hugh Newman.
He's the man. He
founded Megalithomania.
Yep.
The Megalithoman. So the fog-covered moors are no stranger to mysterious phenomenon. These moors are well known for in the mornings and the evenings, like you have just soup of fog that comes onto them and you can't see, your hand in front of your face, like these things. And I've never been in those conditions and I can't imagine how terrifying that would be. Like it's
on Vancouver Island, I'll say like we get like in the fall, we get some nasty fog that'll roll up the inlet and it's thick and you're just like it gives you that eerie like I'm in a horror movie vibe where it's like you can't really see everything. It's like that morning mist. It's eerie is the right term for it. And this is a regular occurrence there, like a daily occurrence there. And that's why people say that it's so terrifying because you walk in there and it's like you've just been transported to the movie The Mist. You're walking around and you're like, fuck, right. I can't really see anything. I can't see too far ahead of me.
It's that's the weirdest feeling. Like I've only really had that on like if you go snowboarding and you get up in the Alpine and it's a whiteout day and you get like vertigo because you have no idea. At this point, you don't barely if it's not like a steep hill, you don't even know which way's down anymore. You can if you put your hand out in front of you, you can't see your hand. It's the weirdest.
Well,
feeling.
yeah, and it's weird because like even I'll say like when people when you're walking on the sidewalk and stuff, like I do some runs in the early fall, and sometimes you'll be like on a run and that fog will roll in, and you can't really see, but you'll hear foot, and you're like, I can hear someone. And then all of a sudden they're just like right there. You're like, wow, like kind of get freaked out by them, but you can hear them long. It's just a weird, eerie feeling. And this place is, described as that. And not only that, but because of the daily occurrence of fog and stuff, people report seeing strange lights and apparitions in this fog all the time. This is like a well-known kind of phenomenon in this area, is that there's these weird fog lights that pop up in the mist.
Yeah, and these are always usually attributed to people kind of assume that these are optical illusions that are just interesting tricks of the light as the morning sun kind of comes through, like the angle of the light.
Venus, Gatorade, swamp gas,
Exactly.
mixes, right? In the morning, first light, it's a recipe.
But it was Spencer's intention this particular morning to take his camera with him out onto the moor and catch some of this phenomenon on film. So as he had planned a trip on foot to his father-in-law's residence, he was going to walk over to the next village and go see his father-in-law. So
Just going to casually strut through the moor.
yeah.
Yeah.
And to make sure that he didn't get lost, he did take his trusty compass along to help him navigate the thick fog.
And I guess from like what I read is he could walk around and like take the roads, but it's twice as long. So he kind of like, if he cuts this way direction through the moor, it actually cut some time. And he was like, oh, you know what? I want to go out, set the camera up and see if I can, he's obviously seen some of these lights before. And he's like, maybe if I set my camera up, shutter speed, set a timer and stuff, maybe I can catch some of the lights in the fog, as some other photographers in the area have claimed to have done and got spirit orbs and stuff like that. So he was wanting to do the same.
And this is 1987. So that's basically like a fucking disposable camera nowadays.
Yeah.
He's it still baffles me that you can have as much fog as you did, that you actually need a compass to navigate. I mean, I know how to use a compass. I've used compasses before, but it's also just something that nowadays it's kind of like you've got GPS and all this stuff that you would walk out and you'd be like, I got to take my compass with me so I don't get fucking lost. That's nuts.
Have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen that? There's that weird phenomenon where if you blindfold someone and send them to walk in a straight line, even on a field, they will go straight for a while and then they will just start doing circles to the right.
Yeah.
Nonstop, right? So it's like we are pre-wired to get lost, right? With no help, we will get lost. So it's like, it makes sense to me. Like I've been in the woods and lost, and it's like, if you can't see anything, that fog's thick, to me, that's just a good safety thing to have, because you are instantly going to get disoriented if you can't see. You have no landmarks. You're like walking, you're like, I think I should have passed that stupid rock, but I don't see it. Where am I? Right? And then who knows how long that fog lasts? Lasts for 4 hours. You're just walking around
just
in the
in
fog.
circles.
Like, God damn it. Which would be the worst time in the world.
So as Spencer walked along, searching these slopes for a good place to get his photos, he's noticed a figure seemingly crouched near some rocks ahead of him.
Run.
Now,
100%.
What are you thinking?
So as Spencer describes it, the figure definitely didn't seem human. When he saw it, he described this creature or this figure as being about 4 feet tall. He was able to distinguish that it had a certain greenish tint to its skin.
Well, let's break that down a little bit. Like, he's walking through this fog and he's going to take a picture. Like, that from the account I read is he's taking pictures as he's walking, and he's going to take a picture, and in his peripherals, he sees that movement, right? Like, as humans, we're like that motion in your peripherals like gets your attention. So he looks, and immediately you're standing there. You got to remember, all he's hearing right now is the wind, this thick fog, and he's squinting, and he sees what he thinks is a possible child standing just as still as him, looking like facing him. Like, that scenario already would be absolutely terrifying. I would run instantly. I'd be running. And then as he kind of is focusing in.
Hey, listen, this is a shire of some sort, right? Yorkshire or whatever the fuck. This is a hobbit. Big fucking deal. They should be used to that shit by now, right? Yeah, filthy hobbitses.
So he does. He sees that he's like, it starts to look greenish. It's he starts to see that it's got a big elongated head, some almond eyes, and it appears that as he's looking at this thing, it appears that it's like, it wants him to stay away, or it's giving him a warning. I don't know, flipping him the bird.
That's double. I just imagine, just
yeah.
Fuck you.
Hey, buddy, fuck you. Get the fuck out of here.
How you doing? Keep it fucking moving, pal.
Yeah.
Don't come close.
He's doing the eyes thing.
Yeah, the creature definitely seemed to acknowledge Spencer's presence. Like, it seemed to actually be looking at him and making some sort of motion, which he interpreted to be something like stay away. Like, it was either like pushing away or like waving at him to go away, something like that. So Spencer actually managed to get his camera up and take a photo of this little green man. And this photo would become the famous photo associated with this event. So if you look up, if you like type it in, you Google it.
Hashtag look it up.
Yeah, hashtag look it up. Ilkely Moor UFO sighting or alien
Or
sighting.
head to our Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. We'll have the photo tagged on our socials.
Yes. So we'll give you that. You'll see this photo of this creature that Spencer saw. So after Spencer managed to snap a photo, like just one, the creature, he said, kind of scampered up over the rise on which it is. And if you look at it, like it's just about halfway up this rise, like a hill that he would have to go up. Like, he had been walking up this hill or towards an up and over, and this creature's like just about halfway ahead of him, and he wouldn't be able to really catch it even if he like ran. He just would be able to just see it go over the rise. So, but
well, and
Spencer,
I imagine to be like, honestly though, you also probably can't move that fast because of debris and stuff. It's not like you just get into a full sprint in the mist.
It is a pretty steep grade. Like,
you're probably also like, bouncing around, being pretty cautious. So it's like you're
corpse hands sticking out from the ground that are trying to grab you and bring you under. That's what I imagine.
That too. Yeah. If you walk without rhythm, you won't attract the worm. So Spencer decides, as not many people would probably do, but Spencer says he's going to pursue the creature, and he went after it as over the rise. So he made it up
especially when you think it is making hands at you to stop.
You
should
chase
probably
him
follow
down
it into the spooky mist. Good idea.
And so when Spencer reached the top of that rise, he had actually lost sight of the creature, but he was in time to see what he described as a dome-shaped craft shoot vertically into the sky faster than any aircraft that he could think of at the time. And he said that this craft accelerated so quickly that he was unable to catch a photo, even though he had the camera in his hands. Had already been taking photos before. He said this thing just like shot up.
It's not like he's running looking through the viewfinder, right? So like in his defense, he's running to try to catch up to this thing, also trying to, not trip and fall. He has the camera, and it's like, as he, like, by the descriptions that Philip Spencer gives, it's like as he crests this hill, it's like he's still kind of in pursuit, and if all of a sudden it's just whoosh, as fast as he kind of like realizes this thing's up and gone. So he's just standing there in amazement.
Yeah, I mean, you can picture it like he just got to the top. You're like be like hands on your knees, like sprinting up that rise, like that steep grade, and that thing just launched up into the sky and disappeared. If
he's anything like me, if it was anything more than 15 steps, he's winded.
Especially up here.
Yeah.
But, at a loss for what he has just witnessed, Spencer tried to get his bearings in order to try to continue to his father-in-law's village. So he turned to face what he was sure was the northerly direction in which he was. He was pretty familiar with this area. Like, he had hiked this way before. He was familiar with it. But when Spencer consulted his compass to confirm his position, the compass was actually pointing south. So what he thought he to his knowledge, and he like taking his bearings around, probably using landmarks and whatever, like he's facing what he believes is north. But when he pulls out the compass, it's pointing that totally opposite direction.
So he's going against the compass then. He's going with his gut. Right.
Well, he's done this. He claims to have done this walk a lot of times. So it's like, I mean, I'll say this. Some people just have good sense of direction. They do. And some people don't. I have friends that, they will hit a fork in a road and they have to go left to go home or right to go in the complete opposite direction from like home, and they go, well, it's 50-50. I don't know what to do. And they'll turn right. Like they just have zero sense of like where they are. Right. And I know not to brag. I got a pretty good sense of direction. Like I can,
wait. This guy is a certified angler. He's an expert compass user. He's got great directions.
Fucking
Jack of all trades
over here.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
What's the survivor man? His name?
I just talked about him the other day.
Les Stroud?
Yeah.
That's Braden.
Yeah. All right. I'll take that.
I don't know about that.
So
Until he gets hungry, it's game over.
He loses all sense of
Eating tree
reason.
bark, dies of dysentery.
I'll have you know that some people were eating berries on this island.
That sounds
And
dumb.
I was like,
that sounds dumb.
I was like, I'm not eating any. Turns out they were raspberries. I'm not eating these.
So you could wait.
So
So you couldn't tell the difference between raspberry and a other berry.
All I
So
know,
you're not
Zell.
Les Stroud.
Hey, Zell. All I know is I'm not eating berries in the woods.
Raspberries.
Right?
Sure.
There's the picture of the alien.
On the live stream.
yeah, a little bit touched up, a little bit.
Yeah.
Like the original photo is on the left
is-
there.
It's got a pretty deadly lean on, hey?
And so also it's worth noting that at the time, like Spencer had gone out with the intention of taking photos in what he knew, what he anticipated were going to be low light conditions. So he had in the film that he utilized was a special type. It was like a type specifically designed for low light conditions.
It's
Like
weird.
that's what he was getting.
His body position's fucking weird. Hey, like it looks like,
Yeah,
you guys ever see that video of Kyrie Irving like warming up where he's leaning and all those super weird angles like that? It looks like that just doesn't look like a natural angle at all.
Right. It looks
His
really-
arms look abnormally long.
Yeah, it's like hunched
Yeah.
over. Like it doesn't look like bipedal like locomotion is its forte. Like it's got these huge.
Maybe it's
Also-
maybe it's got those caterpillar toes.
Caterpillar.
Caterpillar toes.
So going with his gut instinct, Spencer
Kind of looks
ignored
like
the-
it's got Ninja Turtle feet actually.
It's like big
Okay.
fat
Rather
toes.
than two big toes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why are they always, here's my question. Why are they always fucking naked? Like I feel like that's not conducive to
Well, they're not
interstellar
naked.
travel.
Their skin is the suit.
Yeah. Well, that
So
we've-
which helps them survive on this atmosphere is the
Well, no, we've talked about it before
Perhaps.
that maybe that perhaps the little grays are nothing more than some sort of biomechanical,
like an avatar or something?
like an android, right? It's
Just
just
like a
like a
drone.
like a drone.
What if it's like astral projection? That's the only way they can travel, but the only way to do it is they do it naked.
well, they have to like, but they physically.
Can't. Yeah.
No,
Are you
do
talking
they
about? Oh,
physically
you mean
do
like
anything?
an avatar? Like they
What are
astral
they doing
project
physically
into
though?
the.
They just beam them up. Right? They use their projection to lure them, and then the spaceship just beams them up. They never
well,
actually
except
have to lose the craft.
there was a craft there too. So
That's what I
I
mean.
would say
The
there was a-
craft, they stay in the craft, they project down, so they lure them into the fucking craft, so the craft can beam them up.
all right, maybe.
Why
Why wouldn't they project some clothes on then?
Because they're trying to be seductive. They're like, hey,
Trying to get you
like,
closer.
See, bud?
These
You like
fucking
this? You want
horny
some of
apes,
this?
they'll chase anything naked.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
I mean, like in most cases, they're probably not wrong.
Yeah.
It's some weird people out there.
Catch me.
So Spencer decided to go ahead and ignore the compass reading and set off in the direction which he determined to be north, that the path that he was familiar with. And he said, like, this is the north direction. I don't know what the compass is doing, but I'm going this way. And his hunch proved correct since he arrived at the village of his father-in-law in approximately about what he judged to be about half an hour. But here's where it gets a little bit weird, is that Spencer was baffled when he noticed that the village clock tower showed 2 hours later than his watch.
What? Excuse me?
Everybody's favorite abductee event, missing time.
Yeah, so this means that the hour walk turned into a 3-hour walk.
Pretty much.
So
Something
is he
happened
sure he
there.
didn't get lost going to circle a couple times?
Yeah, lean into the right or whatever you said, right? A couple donies in the right.
Well, he kind of realized he's like, well, I don't even remember walking that long. Like
Well, his watch, I think it's actually his watch and the town clock were completely different.
off.
Right.
It's the 80s. It's probably one of those shitty Timexes that just runs out of fucking
Forgot to
right
twist
away.
it.
Spencer knew something was weird. He knew something was strange, and he knew he had caught something, at least when he got the film developed, like he knew he had caught something strange on film. And he would end up reaching out to then UFO investigator Peter Huff?
Question mark?
Huff?
I would say Huff. Peter Huff. And
Well,
so
I used to play hockey with a guy. It was spelled similar, but with the G, it was called Goff. So I'm going to say it's Huff.
I'm going to say Huff.
Guess
It's,
You know him?
yeah, that guy sucks ass.
Oh yeah, Goff. Yeah.
It's a douchebag.
Yeah.
He's not so bad if you get to know him, but yeah, he comes off that way.
He was pretty bad, and I got to know him a little bit.
Younger, 100%. Older, not as bad.
I did. I'll say this. I did have a run into him once where he was fairly nice, but I was still. It was a 5-minute encounter, so I won't judge his.
Still bitter.
I won't. I'm not going to say he totally changed his tune.
I could tell so many stories. You'd be like, oh, this guy's the worst.
He is. I could tell. I wasn't even his friend.
Anyways, after hours maybe.
Yeah.
So the team kind of they got together and they developed multiple copies of the photos, and they had them developed and they sent them to multiple experts for analysis. So the first person that they said they consulted with was a local wildlife photography expert who said that he could not identify the creature in the photo that Spencer had captured.
Should have took it to a DBZ expert because that thing's totally a Cyberman. 100%. That's exactly what it looks like.
This thing is not a zebra.
I wouldn't say no.
He's got the picture. He's walking around the zoo. He's like, no.
Well, it is green.
Yeah, he's like,
but I don't think it's a lizard.
Yeah, he's like, not an iguana. Doesn't look like it.
But another piece of information that they gleaned from these photos is they were able to determine that, they were unable to determine like whether this thing was moving or whether it was standing still. So this was kind of like, it was kind of they thought maybe perhaps it'd be some type of a cutout, it could have been some type of just shape, something put there or whatever, but they couldn't tell whether this thing was actually moving, and that perhaps could account for the strange shape of the body. Like you look at the strange position, maybe it was moving when it did this and it was just making, it was in a strange position, but they couldn't tell.
And the thing about this is, from the accounts of them reading them being like, no, maybe it's a cutout, maybe it's this, it looks weird. Well, yeah, it looks weird. It's a fucking alien. By description, it's something not of this earth. So being like, well, the arms are a little long it doesn't really make sense. And, it's kind of off standing a little bit and it looks a little weird. It's like, yeah, of course it looks fucking weird. It's a creature that just, by his account, just rocketed at light speed back to fucking space. Of course it looks weird. When I'm reading these people trying to justify I'm like, why would it look anything like what we have on Earth? We have no fucking idea. We don't even have the first inkling to understand and what's going on. If that's an actual and organic body, or if that's some sort of drone body, or what's going on with that thing. But for them to be like, well, it doesn't it looks weird, so maybe it's a cutout. I don't know. It's like, hoo-ha.
Hoo-ha.
So they did go on to manage to recreate the actual setting of the photo. They returned to the original spot where Spencer had his sighting, and they kind of set up a recreation, and they were able to kind of confirm the height of the creature of being about 4.5 feet tall, just from the photo and where he was standing, his perspective. So the photo was also sent to Kodak Laboratories in Hemel Hempstead.
Here we go.
So the analysis that Kodak got back to them with was confirmation that the creature was part of that photo, that it wasn't superimposed.
I could have told them that in 1986. The dumbest thing I ever heard.
Well, they were just eliminating
it's not photoshopped.
Well, they were saying they could possibly be a double exposure. Like
Yeah.
you could have put something over it and then whatever. But they said no. Like from our analysis that we given, this is something that is part of the photo. It wasn't
Looks genuine.
layered on top of there. It wasn't something like that. It is genuine photo. A single photo. Now the photos.
So it is an alien.
Yeah,
Oh, wow, I mean-
confirmed.
That's it. No.
Kodak. Very trusted.
Kodak.
Yeah,
they are
they gave
they are-
money. Hey, Kodak supported the Nazis.
They are
Right?
photography.
Fuck 'em.
We could pull a list of 100 companies that are still around today that probably support the Nazis.
Hugo Boss.
Mercedes Benz.
Yeah, if Dan had his
BMW.
way, big theory. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
So the photos even made it across the pond into the hands of one Dr. Bruce Maccabee, who is an optical physicist with the United States Navy. And so
Optical physicist.
optical
That's
physicist.
a hell of a title right there.
Sounds fucking legit.
And so he was able, with the aid of computer enhancement, to conclusively state that the slow film speed used for the low light conditions made the film too grainy for proper testing.
Inconclusive, basically. Haven't we had cases where Dr. Bruce Maccabee's looked at photos before?
We may have.
I felt like when I read that name, it was like I was trying to look up if we had done other cases, but yeah, it's like he looks at it and he goes, like with what he was using, and by all means, he was shooting in low light, so why, like he was using what he should be using in those conditions, but it produced a grainy footage that he is just like, well, he's like, this thing might as well be Bigfoot. He's like, I haven't seen footage of shit since the Patterson-Gimlin.
Is this before Patterson-Gimlin? Or when was Patterson-Gimlin? 70s?
Yeah, so this is after.
This is after. This is way after. And so while all of this was happening, while the photographs were being analyzed by this collection of experts, Spencer began to report having some exceptionally vivid and strange dreams. And
What? Dreams, you say?
Mhm.
Well, okay. Take a short break.
We got to consult with the dream.
We've got to consult with the dream police. So grab a beer, take a short break, and we will be right back. All right, we inquired with the dream police. The story will continue.
They're not going to send out. They're not going to send out the SWAT team.
No.
Yeah.
We're good. So Spencer started having these strange and what he described as vivid dreams, like very strangely vivid dreams that he'd never really recalled ever having before. So it was decided,
And
as
reoccurring. That's a big
recurring
point.
dreams.
Yeah, like he's
And he was decided that the best way to recover something that was going on, or at least explore the experiences that he was having, these dreams that he was having, it was decided that Spencer would submit himself to hypnotic regression to try and perhaps either recover memories, perhaps that had something to do with UFO. I mean, this is 1980s, so Betty and Barney Hill, all of the UFO cases preceding this, like hypnotic regression, still the go-to. Like that was the thing. So
Yep.
I mean, missing time was already part of the case. So it's I think at that point it was pretty much just assumed that there were buried memories in there that needed to be brought to the surface.
yeah, some trauma that they needed to make him relive or implant in his brain. One or the other.
One or the other. So the session was conducted by one Dr. Jim Singleton at Arthur
Dr.
Thomas.
Sprinkleton.
Yeah.
Dr. Sprinkleton,
He
right?
lost his
Jim
license over in the
Sprinkleton.
U.S. He
Changed
came
his
over to
name.
the UK.
Yeah, it's Dr. Sprinkleton.
At Arthur Tomlinson, who is an associate of Huff, on March 16th, 1988. So like almost like that's like a year? No, like just a couple months, maybe like, what is that? March, December, January, February, March, maybe a couple months afterwards. So you've got them putting Spencer under hypnosis. And when they put him in there's a couple of books that goes into it. I think at least one book is penned by Huff about the experience that they had with Spencer going into regressive hypnosis. And while he was under, like the transcripts that pop up about his experiences, like the story is it is completely different. There is a whole section there that is brought into
I don't
the story.
like that at all, because on all accounts, when it comes to the his Philip Spencer's hypnotic regression, everything changed. His whole story changed. The account completely changed. I'm like, no, it didn't. This fills in this 2-hour gap that he originally reported. He originally reported the beginning part of the story stays the same. The ending stays the same. What changes is that we now know what happens in this 2 hours.
Right. So
this is the fucking cream filling.
Yeah. Basically,
that gross
before
cream
this,
filling and Cadbury eggs.
before we even knew, Philip Spencer yada yada the whole good part of the story. He yada yada'd it. Right?
Well, he couldn't remember it, so he couldn't.
I see
He was like, yada yada. I'm in the moor. It's 2 hours later.
Took off in a
You
crab.
can drop the yada yada, but you don't know the fucking moops reference?
What about the yada yada?
Moops.
Holy fuck.
I don't know. It's just
Moops.
yada yada. What is the yada yada? It's just yada yada.
Holy fuck.
So his recovered memories go something like this. After first sighting the creature, he described being instantly paralyzed and then being lifted off the ground as if by some unseen force. The alien being actually took the lead and led Spencer's floating body behind it. What is described as like a balloon on a string. So
he wasn't giving him the double barrel.
Wasn't giving the double barrel. Or it might have, and while he was, maybe that's their pointer finger. I don't know.
Maybe they implanted that image so he didn't think anything of it. So they obviously weren't interested in seeing me. But little did he know they abducted him.
Well, the double barrel on the ET planet is just hello. And we've misunderstood.
Maybe that's true too.
Well, it's like the event kind of went before the creature was making the motions to him. Like this is like this, according to,
so what I mean,
Spencer,
like maybe the image they implanted that to make it seem like, no, I ran into these weird things. They told me not to come near them. I didn't come near them. It is what it is.
So he was led into the craft that he remembers seeing from the moor previously. And when he's put inside here, he says that he recalls like a voice speaking to him, whether this is telepathically or like actually audible. He's not quite sure. He's under hypnotic regression. But he knows that this voice is telling him or advising him to remain calm, like not to worry, you know? And so as this voice is comforting him and trying to keep him calm, more green men appeared and seemingly started to perform what he assumes were some type of medical experiments on his body. Like during his experience and during the transcripts, like he's talking about them. Like he doesn't describe specifically what they're doing to him, but he does have a feeling.
He doesn't specifically
like
say,
stuff going into his nose and mouth and something happening. Like
he doesn't
really
specifically say probing. He thinks it probably happened.
And so along after this, they perform some type of examination on him. He doesn't go into great detail about what happened to him because again, it's like this is regressive hypnosis, so it's not 100% accurate. Like they're pulling up stuff that happened.
Traumatic shit that aliens might have suppressed with some foreign technology.
Right. And, but he does remember, bits and pieces. So after this examination happened, Spencer describes being given a kind of tour of the ship.
I love that. He's towing along the ship, paralyzed. They do these intrusive tests on him. They're like, all right.
Well, here. Well, no. How about this? How about this? How about this?
Maybe they test.
Maybe what they did is they brought him in, and in order to acclimate him to the atmosphere onside the ship, they put something inside his mouth and nose in order to allow him to breathe in their atmosphere. How about that?
Oh, that's
Does that sound
good.
Cool?
Yeah, that does sound cool. I like that a lot. Way better than the moops.
It's the fucking Futurama thing. You swallow the shell. So now he's given a tour of the ship, and the extraterrestrials seem to be pretty friendly with him. And they're taking him along these corridors, which seem to be internally lit, which we've heard about before in other experiences, other hypnotic regression sessions with other abductees, talking about how these corridors seem to have like a light of their own. Like the light is not necessarily coming from any direct source, like a certain source, like light bulbs or something. It's just everything is lit, like has its own light. And with the corridors being illuminated in this way, he's able to get a good look at these creatures and being able to better describe them than what he saw out there on the moor. So he describes them as having these V-shaped feet. So having feet with like that shot out into two
Ninja Turtle feet.
Ninja Turtle feet. Yeah. I guess, yeah. You could probably say Ninja Turtle feet, probably be an accurate way to describe it. And then he remarks to them having these exceptionally large 3-fingered hands. Like, I mean, you can kind of see them in the picture if that's what that is. Yeah, like you can see the hands are like disproportionately large.
I don't know why they spend so much fucking time in this part of the hypnotic regression being like, he then described them. I was like, well, he also took a fucking picture that looks exactly what he's describing. And it's a picture we can all see. He's not describing anything that everyone here can't just look at the picture and go, yeah, Andrew said it before. Looking at the picture, he goes, looks like they have Ninja Turtle feet. What does he describe? Ninja Turtle feet. They got long arms. We literally described, it had almond eyes and the big right head. There's a picture. None of this is remarkable in the hypnotic regression.
Well, I mean, but he was able to describe them in greater detail. So it's like he's actually able to see them instead of the grain info.
Really though, not really.
Not too different.
Well, it's like he was able to confirm pretty much, like at least like from the picture, you can't really tell if it has a mouth or not. But this in the memory, he was able to describe that they had at least some type of slit for a mouth. There was something there, but there was no
now
nose.
Now we're talking, Philip.
At least it matches the fucking picture.
Right. So the description, the description matches pretty much like what the picture is like and what you can kind of see outlined in that photo. So it kind of backs it up, I suppose. Now, the final part of the experience that Spencer describes, or one of the final parts, probably the most impactful part, is Spencer describes being taken to a room where he was seated and made to watch what he described are moving pictures or like a movie of some type or something.
This
like
is the 87
some type of
fucking
VHS.
Yeah, like relax.
They wheel the card in and he's like, oh, yes.
It's movie day.
And so under hypnosis, Spencer recalled watching 2 films or something, or sequences of images that these aliens were showing him. And the first one, he said it was either a set or series of images relating to pollution, starvation, nuclear war, all of the general stuff that you see.
Reminds me of that fucking video that Gabe makes everybody in the office watch on Halloween.
You know? Yeah.
Well, it sounds very much like The Abyss, like what they show fucking Ed Harris in The Abyss, like the video of like, you know, humans, basically the whole the concept of like humans are ruining this world with war, with famine, with all of these
this
things.
trope's been done before in other lots of pop culture stuff, and we've heard this, you know, similar events in other UFO cases where they say that
we've only seen it done right once, and I don't understand why these aliens haven't caught on yet. It's fucking simple. You keep warning these random Joes and nothing gets done. The recipe for saving the world is already out there. You got to find 5 kids, preferably mixed raced, fucking for all different ethnicities. Got to get them rings.
Yep.
Right? You got to earth, wind, fire, water, all that shit. And they're going to summon Captain Planet and your problem's fucking solved.
Yes, you give rings that are able to control the primal elements of the world. And
it fucking works.
Pretty much godlike powers to teenagers, hormonal teenagers.
It's
the best idea.
If it's not broke, don't fix it. Why are we trying? Why trying to reinvent the wheel here?
Why are we fucking telling old fucking
allowing them to
ex-cop and the fucking moops? Waste of time.
I knew what you were talking about. I didn't know you were talking about I thought you were making some sort of UK joke. I didn't know you were talking about the invaders of Spain in the 8th century.
Oh, you Googled it, eh?
No.
Yeah.
Is Moops? Is this a Seinfeld?
That's like the best. That is
this a
top
Seinfeld
3
joke?
episodes of Seinfeld.
It's a Seinfeld joke, right?
It's not top 3.
Bubble Boy's not top 3 for you?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Soup Nazi?
Soup Nazi's up there. I mean, that's pretty.
I can't believe Bubble Boy's not.
We'll get into it after.
Whole other podcast.
So Spencer is shown 2 films. He watches the first one, and the second one, when he's asked about the details for that one under hypnosis, Spencer simply said that he could not tell anyone since it was not meant for them to know, is what he's kind of quoted as saying.
No, I'm not telling.
He can't tell anyone.
Well, it's because it was a film of what they did to him. All the weird shit to his mouth.
They're like, you tell anyone about this. You tell anyone about this. We'll release this one on something called the internet coming up pretty quick here.
So from this thing, a lot of people will go ahead and say that the Ilkely Moor is one of the most, that photo at least, it probably should be at least one of the most famous photos, and is probably most of the definitive proof that extraterrestrials have visited this planet. That it is something that is, it's never been sufficiently disproved. It's never been, nobody's picked up on it and been like, this is a hoax. There was a lot of kind of hoopla about it in the local newspapers, and some kind of went on to like jokingly say that, you know, I think one of them said something about it's a lawyer on a bike with like a blue briefcase like falling over like on the side of the path or something like that. But I mean, there were explanations like we mentioned before, you know, possible, you know, it's a cardboard cutout, or it's a kid in a rain jacket or something. Like that's what the kind of explanations.
But then if that's the explanation, then it's like, because he had the compass, and you know, you can I guess there's like things you can do to a compass to make it do that, to reverse the polarity of the compass,
magnetize it, right?
Right. So it's like they say he could have done these things, but then it's like, if in my head, if I'm going, okay, let's for a second think that Philip Spencer's a hoax here. Philip Spencer made this elaborate cutout that he wanted to post up there. He kind of leans it on the rock, because some people's biggest things are, they said, well, it's leaning weird.
It's definitely leaning weird.
It's looking weird, but we don't know what we don't know what the footing's like, so I'll just leave it at that. But let's say he leans it up there, he goes back, he snaps his photo, he fucks up his own, you know, at home before he left, he fucked up his own compass. He's then just chilling in the mist, right? He's like, okay, well, I just got to sit here for 2 hours because, you know, I got to show up my dad's to perpetuate this hoax. He sit there, he gets rid of the cardboard cutout. However he does that, he shows up, wow, what do you mean? I lost 2 hours and my watch is, whoa, what's going on? He then perpetuates this hoax. He agrees to do hypnotic regression and stuff. He, you know, recalls these things. He doesn't give them too much more than his already story. He consistently always sticks to his story, right? He always says his story. It's not like this guy goes out, Philip Spencer, and he starts running the circuit, starts really getting out there, making a ton of money from this. Philip Spencer just says this because he's like, this was unbelievable, and I feel the need to share my story. He doesn't profit from this at all. In fact, Philip Spencer isn't even this motherfucker's real name. It's a pseudonym. We don't even know what his real name is, because he preferred to be a private citizen. He doesn't want any of the like infamy or fame that goes along with it. He just wanted to share his tale. So what's the point of a hoax if you're not going to, like, for me, it's like usually the hoaxes are done to cash in on something, right? Like cash in on money, cash in on some notoriety.
They're premeditated for profit.
Yes.
Maybe he wasn't the one doing the hoax. Maybe somebody hoaxed him
and put up like a
creepy fucking green thing in the moops.
Yeah, but then he takes the pictures. Then he fucks up his own compass. You know what I mean? Like, it to me, I think this is a genuine photo of an extraterrestrial, and I believe that Philip Spencer had a genuine experience because of that. He's not a person that's going out there, and you know, it's like, I would like to think that some policemen, you know, especially back then, well, maybe they're worse back then, I don't know, but you know,
how old was he when he had this encounter?
He retired, so
I'm at that. Well,
50s.
Wonder why did he? Yeah, why did he retire?
Maybe, right?
Why did he retire?
But if you're saying like he's a shady,
right? Like maybe he was
what?
You know, forced into retirement.
Okay, maybe he was shady. Let's say he was a shady cop, right? And he got kicked off the force. So he's a shady guy.
He's on the take.
But here's the thing:
I'm gonna hoax a alien encounter,
and then not do anything with it. Me, shady cop here, who's on the take.
Maybe he was kind of hoping that this blurry photo would kind of take on, like, you know, the Patterson Gimlin.
But it did,
right? Not really.
right? It's
How
still
many people
around
have
there.
heard of this before this case?
Listen, this motherfucker right now, I'll tell you, he could be showing up at every convention with
You tell me.
with these photos, signing them.
It could be
$50 a pop.
Yeah, but it never got as popular as Patterson Gilman did, right? Like that was huge, and that would people thought for a while that was legitimate fucking evidence of Bigfoot.
Yeah, but
as opposed to
on the counter argument, this guy actually had a photograph where other people like Walton, right, tours, they don't have any evidence.
They have no evidence.
No evidence besides the story. At least this guy.
What about that guy that fucking I could go to the desert for fucking 6 payments of $49.95 and see a fucking UFO for sure, guaranteed.
Have you ever seen from his encounters?
You can't. You got to sign the non-disclosure.
Yeah,
You
that's
can't
what I
show
mean.
it.
So as Braden's point is, like as a hoaxer, this guy's not checking all the boxes of pulling off the hoax, making a profit, writing a book, doing the TV circuit, the radio.
Well, that's what I'm saying is maybe it just didn't get as popular as he hoped, and it's kind of like, well, it is what it is.
But it had all the makings of it. If he wanted to push it, he could have.
But it did get wide release though, didn't it?
Yes, that's why we're talking about.
It got some exposure in like the local media.
It just didn't get popular. Didn't get picked up by papers. Didn't maybe
but
that's why.
also because he went. I don't want to it's there. Here you go.
Oh, it definitely got
Here's
picked
my
up
fake
by
name.
papers. It's transatlantic. Like we got in the UK and then over in the States. It's been people. Blue Book didn't end up investigating the case. I don't think.
No, this is in the UK.
They did. Yeah, they did. It may be a
Blue Book had already shut down. This is 87, right?
It's a case of interest, but it was never really. It was
I don't know. This is the first time that I've ever heard of this.
It's probably the first time you've heard of a lot of them, though.
The things that
but something with actual evidence though, like this is that's pretty big, right?
Picture.
It's like an actual photo, like an actual photo.
Yeah.
It says
and that's what I'm saying. Like you would think that this would be like when people are saying there are fucking extraterrestrials that have visited Earth. Here's our fucking evidence. This is a picture. That's why I'm saying I'm not surprised.
Did you look at the picture though?
Did I look at the picture? Yeah, it looks just like every other blurry fucking
That's what I
Bigfoot
mean. It's so
picture
blurry,
and
so
everything
it's hard to
else.
tell. It's like a.
But it's still.
So
how many
here's-
other pictures do we have of aliens on
We
Earth?
got one right here.
right
That's
there.
what I'm saying. Like that's why I feel like the people would be banging the table, being like, "This is our evidence. This is what we have. This is real."
I'm banging the table right now.
We got a table
I know.
banger right here.
Yeah, you want-
Apparently,
right? I would do it, but it's
Mad
in the fucking
table
my
banging
recording.
going up in here.
Yeah,
I'm just playing devil's
Zell,
advocate.
add some table banging right now.
I'm just asking questions, boys. That's
Supreme
all.
Foley work. Thank you.
My thing is, it just to just claim this as a hoax, it doesn't. Though I would say the only suspicious thing that pops up for me is that I just go, why Philip Spencer, why this guy, and then I go, what was the second video like? Why can't you tell us what was on there that you don't want to share? To me, my brain, because I'm like, he just didn't have a good enough lie made up. That's what I think. But like everything else, I go, well, it just doesn't make sense that you would do this for nothing.
Yeah, but why even mention a second video?
Why
right?
even tell
He could've
anyone
just
then?
Said, he could have
Why
just said
even
there
tell
was
anyone
one.
if you're like, this
Yeah,
is.
I agree.
Right? It's like, it doesn't make sense. I'm like, for you to do this, to me, what I think is this was someone who was like, well, this is life changing, and I feel the need to share it, and that's it. I just want to share it with here's my story, here's my account, here's the photo, have it, look at it. He did all the thing. All the experts came back and were like, well, it's fucking legit. It's not whatever that is in the photo.
It's legitimately something.
Yeah, we don't know what it is, right? This is something in that photo. We don't know what it is, right? You can superimpose it and do everything and, add green tinge and stuff, whether or not that's exactly what it looks like or not. But it's still, he then just was like, walks away. Like he doesn't give his real name. That's it. Like if you want to try to hunt this guy down, you're going to have to do some real work because he doesn't want to be found.
This is true.
It's when I first saw the images and I was going through researching for this case, like the first things that popped in my mind were like there were two separate encounters that really that reminded me of that same kind of shaped creature. So you had like Kelly-Hopkinsville encounter that everybody remembers,
Terrifying.
the little green men,
Terrifying.
the little gremlins, like those little guys, which had very similar features, like very similar, except for the bat ears, like the kind of the elongated ears off the back. That was something that was kind of weird. But
good
I could also
bye.
say perhaps those are some kind of like, I don't know, like I would say like maybe there's some type of flight mechanism because they describe them kind of like floating in the air, whereas these ones were kind of shuffling around. But their limbs and stuff were the same. Like they had the long arms, they have the short legs,
the ears,
like the tiny feet, like it's the weird looking feet and the eyes and things like that. And then there was another one called the Dover Demon, which happened in like Dover, Massachusetts, which is another like strange encounter that was seen by a couple of witnesses. And this one was being that it had the very strange shuffling gait that I feel like this same creature would have. Like you have a creature that's got the long arms, and it doesn't seem like bipedal locomotion is its primary like move. Like it's still got these. Like he was saying that Spencer described these like the green aliens, like the way that they're kind of like their locomotion was like shuffling. It wasn't like they were walking; they were kind of like shuffling, like they weren't kind of used to walking or something like that. So that's what these two kind of reminded me of. Like seeing that picture is like those are the first two things that kind of popped in my mind. It's like they are similar to other encounters that people have had before. Whether these are some kinds of variations on the species, or they're maybe like we said, they're drones and they're suited for different tasks. I'm not really sure, but it's something. It could be something like that.
And on the point of like, you know, because it's brought up in things that people are like, well, why this guy? Why give the message this? And Andrew, you said it like, why aren't we getting 5, you know, biracial
No,
angels together?
I was just trying to be funny because all these abduction cases we talk about, and anybody that has any experience, they're always fucking nobodies.
Yeah.
They're all just random people. So I was just making a joke.
Maybe it's one of those things where it's like, you know, we've said maybe it's just random. It's like, because they're coming to Earth. It's, you know, it's just the people in the more isolated areas are likely to be taken than someone in like LA because there's so many people. But the other thing that I thought of when I was looking at this and thinking about that, because a couple of articles mentioned that, is I think we've touched on it before, but maybe it's like strategic placing of these messages where they're not, it's not that he needs the message. Philip Spencer perhaps doesn't need the message, but by getting Philip Spencer, if they're coming, say, back in time, they're like, this is going to telephone to get the information in the right places we need it, right? Like maybe even we're a cog in this like grand plan of Philip Spencer's case that we tell someone, then, you know, they hear about it, they research it, you know what I mean? It kind of spreads like that more naturally. Whereas say if they were like, Andrew, we want you to get the information. Well, if they pick Andrew up, you know, Andrew turns into a fucking crazy mess, and then it's like, it's nothing. So it's like we shoot the message far enough back that hopefully this like it just gets out there and changes the minds of people before whatever date they were trying to prevent. That's kind of what I was thinking of.
Okay, trying to prevent the date.
Well, like you know, if they're saying like Earth's going to be destroyed by humans, maybe they're trying to. Maybe there's a date, 2028, where we. Judgment Day, right? And they're like, they're just casting the stones of the river of time, trying to like just kind of shift it away from that. Like they're like, if we don't do something, 2028, they're done.
Oh, so just informing him, even though he doesn't want to tell anyone because it's not for them. Just
he might be the John Connor of our time. We don't know,
right? But you start doing that all over the place, right? Taking a couple people and you're like, all right.
It's changing the timeline.
Tell them, and then that information just slowly spreads through society, right? We're definitely seeing a greener culture shift, right?
Maybe that's maybe
more recognized to the
visited Greta Thunberg.
Yeah,
she's an alien.
Our society's more like we recognize the war machine more so now than people did back 4 years. Just like, we got to do it, but now we recognize they're like that's a business that they want us in war all the time because it's a business. Like we're starting to recognize these things. So it's like, maybe that first stone of, the first domino was picking up Philip Spencer and giving him this message.
I like that theory. And why not just like, because what do they tell him? Like, if you tell anyone that we told you this, then it's not going to work.
Well, maybe that's something
that kind of contradicts the theory.
right?
Because you want it to spread like the telephone game.
But maybe the second video is like some fucking, think about it as Doctor Strange stuff, right? Where it's like he can't tell Tony what's gonna happen because Tony might not do it, right? Like to save, do the snap. That's the one way that works. So he shows them and they're like, you can't say it because if you tell people, this outcome might not happen.
But like I know they're concerned of, I'm assuming, mass hysteria, but like I feel like they could just tell everybody.
Well, but here's the thing.
Let's make a real impact here and just make sure everybody finds out.
Let's get even a little crazier. Maybe on like a multiversal level where there's infinite possibilities, infinite realities. Maybe creatures like this meddle in various forms, right? So maybe,
rogue.
Yeah. So maybe, in another multiverse, they're like, let's see what happens if we just tell them everything. And they're like, ooh, that didn't work.
That didn't work out.
In this one, let's just tell a couple people and see if that works. And in this one, we'll do this. Like if they're removed from time, you know what I mean? And they're just watching our progression like in a linear, like a movie, right? And they're just stepping in and changing certain things. And they can do that in, in infinite variations to try to see if they can change an outcome. Maybe they're meddling like that.
Little pranksters, E.T. pranksters.
Yeah. Well, yeah, maybe.
Playing in the river of time.
Yeah. Just casting stones in there.
See what happens. And they fuck it up and they have the not.
Yeah, there's
next one.
Next one.
Try again.
It's like Rick Sanchez. Same thing.
He just fucks up so many realities and just transfers back to his own. Yeah, I don't know. It's a really cool. Having a picture of an alien. At least there's a picture. Like with so many cases, there is no.
Like
nothing.
Just looking at this thing,
Yeah.
that's not a bush. It's not like you look at them like that looks like a little creature.
Like even if it is even if it's a cardboard cutout, you're like, dude, could you not make a better cardboard cutout? Because that one looks fucking
Well, it doesn't
stupid.
look like a cardboard cutout to me. It looks almost like a stuffed animal being propped up. Like I feel like it's like Weekend at Bernie's, but they edited the two dudes holding them up. Right? Like he's like slumped over, like
It's like, oh yeah, it's all like leaned over.
it literally looks
lopsided,
like
it's-
a ventriloquist dummy or something that's just being left like that.
It's
Like
so
that's what I
strange.
see when I looked at that.
it's-
Like it looks limp, looks lifeless.
It looks goofy. Yeah, it's like leaning on that rock or whatever, and it's just but
it's definitely cool. I have no
at
idea.
least like Zell said, it's you have photographic evidence of something
agree.
happening, whether it's a hoax or not. It's just we have a picture, and that's kind of neat. Like that's part this case that definitely sets this case apart from a lot of other ones that we do, where all you have is just like firsthand accounts. And
Have
that's
we
it.
ever talked about an alien where we've actually got a picture of it?
That's
Like
what I'm
we've
saying.
seen crafts, but not an actual being on
Like an
on the
actual,
planet.
yeah, like an
that's-
actual photo
yeah.
of a creature. Like,
That's why I'm surprised that this is the first time I've seen it.
And I honestly, I think the reason this one doesn't get as widespread or as big is because this guy just told a story and then kind of dropped off. Like he's just like, I don't really want. I'm a private.
There's
guy.
only there's one. I think there's one book authored by Huth, and it's just it's not even. You can only find it on paperback. Like you have to order it on paperback to get it. But it's it's just one of those encounters that gets buried in time, and the guy didn't follow up on it. He didn't, cash in on it. Is from what we can tell, and it's just all you
But
have.
we'll
is
cash
this one.
in on it. Head to ATT merch store to get your Ilkely Moor shirt.
September merge coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you get that shirt with us holding them up like Weekend at Bernie's?
Yeah,
We should
all
have one,
grainy.
yeah.
Yeah, I could
Yeah.
probably make us all grainy like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I found this case fascinating just for the fact that you had an actual photo of what seems to be an alien. Again, it's something that's part of the photo itself, and photography experts can't suss it out. Like they don't know what it is.
This has we're gonna say it can never be proven, but it's never been disproven.
So we don't know for sure what
still
that thing
mystery.
is.
The photo lingers. It looks
And
like
it's
an alien.
and that thing, it might look weird because, like we said, it could have been moving at the time. Like it could have been in motion, and then that's just because that type of film was it's for low light exposure, so it's supposed to take in light slower or whatever.
Yeah.
So it could actually be moving. It's something like that, and that's what makes it look a little bit awkward.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe.
So it might have been something like that, and that's why you can't really make out a lot.
Because
But
it does seem like it has numerous eyes, like bug eyes almost.
if you would have taken a picture of a person, like it would have looked weird, like
Shitty.
with that thing. But
not that
there is something there, definitely, which is. And like they said, they recreated the photo and they recreated like the perspective from where he took the photo. It's something 4.5 feet tall. If it is a kid or something like that, like where would you find a kid in the middle of the
why is he in the moor?
Where do you find a kid in the middle of the fucking moors? Like did you bring your kids?
It's a fey folk.
That's also a thing that was bouncing around my head too. It's like, you hear stories of fey folk like taking humans and sometimes either tricksters and pulling them into the Fey world, and time moves differently there. Maybe this is part of that, or this is a certain iteration of the Fey folk. Fey folk are extraterrestrials, and they're it's not that they're pulling you into Tuatha De Danann or whatever, and
to what
actually Tuatha De Danann. Those are people, not a place.
Oh
yeah.
Tierno, there you go.
If you don't like the pronunciation of that, fuck you.
Yeah, if you don't like the pronunciation, go back and rewrite ancient Celtic into current day English pronunciation.
We take things literal around here, so if you don't have it written right.
Use the universal phonetic alphabet if you want me to pronounce it correctly. But yeah, it's like it could be something like that, And we'll probably dig into Fey folk at some point. That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, this is an amazing case file though because of
the picture,
the photo,
the picture.
I like the original photo, and it's like I hate when the enhancement stuff like that just drives me nuts. Like
the original photo is good enough. You don't have to try.
I don't need the contrast.
Space it up and add green into it. I'm like, just leave it. You can see that there is something there.
Yeah, could be like moving its head side to side. Like could be anything. You just keep it. Put it away. It's creeping me out.
Well, it could be shaking its head, right? And that's why it kind of looks blurry because it's saying like, no, don't go there, right? Because like he said, it seemed like to be telling him to stay away. So maybe it was like, shaking his arm going like, no. Right? Yeah. Anyways.
Or it was like giving him the double barrel. Unclear of the exact arm movements of the ET pic in the picture.
Ilkely Moor, don't go on the moor.
It's fucking moors.
Don't do it. I said it before. I said it at the beginning of the episode. I don't want to go to the moors, and I've never been to the moors. I don't want to go to the moors, especially in the early morning when the fog is thick and you can't see your face, your hand in front of your face.
Joe,
that's fucking creepy, man.
It's cool. No. Go look it up. # look it up.
The reason that they say they're haunted.
Yeah, check out our socials for the picture, and we'll have it on there when this releases.
All right, who do we got this of the week?
Dare of the week.
We got a two-parter this week. I'll do the first one. Our first one is going to be Sean Young Wolf Duffy rocking his ATT NWO shirt in front of King Arthur's statue in England.
That's
pretty
cool
statue.
Super cool.
Fitting for the episode as well.
Once and future king.
And the second one is going to be Ansley Hadley. Was on a massive road trip for a honeymoon. Had to swing by Skinwalker Ranch and was rocking our
Skinwalker
ATT Yeti chill shirt.
Nice.
At Skinwalker Ranch, which was very cool. So
did they get data? Did they get data from
We're splitting this.
Did you get any, Ansley, did you get any data while you're there?
Data? No data?
You two are the Theorists of the week. Thank you for sending those. You got our merch? You're going to some place cool? Wear our shirt. Send it to us. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's cool that you're going to a certain cool place, but it'd be way cooler if you were wearing one of our shirts.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot cooler if you did.
And just wanted to do a quick little special shout out. We have a friend of a friend who is top level clearance.
Top of the top.
Can't even say their name.
Best of the best of the best, sir.
By far.
Yeah. Can't even say their name.
Can't do it.
But we will say we got your package. We appreciate it. We strive on this show. We got your package, and we strive on this show to make Uranus great again. You'll know who you are when you hear that.
We're making it our mission.
Yeah, we're making it a mission. One listener at a time.
Hell yeah.
So, hey, to the special friend of ours, big thank you. And maybe there's a little package coming out your way pretty quick here.
No guarantees, but maybe.
No guarantees. If we can get an address or something for the bunker.
If we can find them where they live.
In the silo, we'll get it there. But thank you. Thanks for supporting the show.
Someone tells me they live on Uranus.
Hey.
We need a mailing address for Uranus. We'll get a package straight to Uranus.
Yeah. Yeah, they sent us a little Uranus care package. The hat I'm wearing, my Mugga hat. They sent us some fudge from Uranus. Bunch of stuff, but
hell yeah.
Oscar music's playing.
All right, and if you're not supporting the show, you know what to do by now. Go to alientheorist.com, hit support, skip the ads, get access to the Discord, the 600 and whatever episode of bonus stuff.
So much bonus stuff.
Listen, it's $5. You get all that stuff. It's so easy.
Everything.
It's $5.
So much.
And
$5.
And you get access to a Patreon exclusive merch variant, which is a shirt that's just for you guys at cost to us.
$0 to us.
$0 at cost. That's what you're getting for it.
This week's new supporters, we got Jacob Bowden, Jimbo Slice, Matt Braggadocious, amazing, Cody Brown, Deacon Cider, Bryce McWilliams,
Dick Insider.
Dick Insider, beautiful, Bryce McWilliams, and Matt. Thank you very much for supporting the show.
And as we always say at the end of these things, keep those eyes on the skies.
See you in the after hours.
Peace.